There's no one forest that is good, right? So you can have an evergreen forest, or you can have a coniferous forest, or you can have a deciduous forest. They are all healthy forests. And at some point, if something happens, those ecosystems get destroyed. And it's the same thing with human microbiome. Microbiomes have different compositional features, healthier, and then you always have some kind of personalization or uniqueness to it. And when there is some disturbances, right? So if you are ill, or if you take antibiotics, you destroy the ecosystem. So looking at it in a single binary view is often a common misconception in the field, and people are now trying to look at it as gradients of health and disease ecosystem states, and that we try to address microbiome with a more nuanced and a more personalized or tailored and targeted approach, so that we can create some kind of health effects for people. You can have your gender, your ethnicity, your age. These are your natural factors that will influence your microbiome even when you are healthy. A healthy microbiome for a middle-aged adult is not the same as an older-aged adult. So they develop over your lifespan. They accumulate all your historical chances or events that have happened with you, right? When you're born early, those factors also shape later in life your microbiome. So there are multiple factors, and day-to-day stressors, right? We are always facing stress in our personal life, and these all factors have an effect. How we eat because of stress can also have an effect on the microbiome. So there are many factors. When you look at which type of bacteria are there are different compositions that can be healthy. But functionally, there are certain factors that are very important. I will again go back to the forest ecosystems, right? They are different trees, but they all have similar functions to support the planet. It's the same thing with microorganisms also in our gut. They might be different compositions and different configurations, but functionally they do some kind of critical aspects. So the core functions would be helping you digest your food, helping you produce some kind of vitamins, and helping you keep your immune system interactive, right? So they have to maintain a balance between how your immune system is reacting. So I'm producing short-chain fatty acids, which are metabolites that have a very positive influence on the human gut, like butyrate. And when you talk about diseased or in a situation where the ecosystem is declining in the microbiome field, that would be losing these functions, right? And sometimes they can start having detrimental effects on the ecosystem. They challenge the host or the human body to produce more inflammatory responses. It can affect your sleep. It can affect different aspects. You feel more tired, and then you can have gut issues. So those are the kind of aspects that we should be aware of when we're talking about the microbiome. Bifidobacteria are one of the most fascinating microorganisms that you will find in your gut. Almost majority of the population globally has this bacteria the moment you are born. It supports you in your initial phase of your life. So they help you with different kinds of functions early in your life, and they change with you. In early life, you're protected, you are interacting with few people, your parents take care of you, but when you become an adult, you adapt. Bifidobacteria also adapt when you become an adult. They interact with many other microorganisms around them. They work with them, they collaborate with them. And when there are some bad organisms, they also try to fight with them. So those are the kind of things bifidobacteria do for us. So it's like a caretaking microorganism also that we think is very important for our health. The aging process for our body also has some kind of effect. And when you try to look at microbiomes of people of different ages, you see bifidobacteria start going down. They decline in numbers. And there are very good examples of people who live healthily tend to have more bifidobacteria than people who don't live that healthily, right? So it's very important that when you age with health. That's the best thing also about bifidobacteria, that they don't need too much of effort for them to start improving, right? So taking control of your diet, making sure that you are eating all the fibers that you can access, right? If you're not getting it, you should try to make ways or find ways in which you can improve the fiber intake in your diet. Also, the diversity of fibers is very important. You can also have fermented foods. So these all factors do have an effect. But this is all should be part of your healthy diet. You have to make sure you do physical activity. You make sure your plate is diverse. You eat good food and maintain the bifidobacteria. In some cases, you might have to enrich them with certain kind of prebiotics also. So, for example, we know that galacto-oligosaccharides are quite potent in their ability to support bifidobacteria. And so you can have this kind of options available for you to make sure your bifidobacteria are happy in your gut, and then you also feel happy when the microorganisms are there. The future is quite promising. We are constantly now trying to understand very precise ways in which we can modulate bifidobacteria, how we can get bifidobacteria to people who don't have bifidobacteria in their levels, right? Like I said, over a period of your lifespan, there may be events that lead to decline in bifidobacteria, or sometimes even loss of bifidobacteria. You take antibiotics, you might lose your bifidobacteria. So we're trying to find ways where we can give you the right we can support the bifidobacteria through diet, through nutrition, for people who need it. Our day-to-day work also includes looking at large-scale data sets, because nowadays we have a wealth of data. We have machine learning tools that can help us make sense of also those data sets that we have, connect with experts, especially when we are working in a dynamic ecosystem where there are different types of players. We need to interact. So we are working with nutritionists, we are working with the science teams, we are working with different types of experts in industry, in academia. We have partners across the globe, and we are all trying to figure out how we can make the microbiome healthier.